Hello and welcome to my 77th water review for YouTube. Today is Friday, July 26, 2019, and this week we'll be doing another review of a Portuguese water. This one is called Agua Castello, and this is their Fina edition of their water, which is a lightly carbonated version of their traditional mineral water. And Agua Castello actually has quite an interesting history dating back to 1899, and they are from the southern region of Portugal called Baixo Antalejo, and in the particular area of Moura. And the local Moura government, and specifically a viscount, decided that their water had medicinal properties. A lot of these waters tend to have medicinal properties. It's quite interesting. And they decided that they would offer a bottling license to a local company called Assis and Company. And they would bottle their water for the locals as well as the local royalty. And the reason it's called Agua Castello is because their first bottling operations were within the walls of the local castle. So they went with Agua Castello, and they have a little Castello up here. Also, Agua Castello would later become the exclusive water producer for the Portuguese royal house. So quite an interesting history along with this one. And you can find that all out on Agua Castello's great website. It's not quite as good as Carbonated that we did last week, but it is very nicely designed, easy to navigate. They do have all the pages I'm typically looking for. However, they really didn't have a whole lot of substance to them. They had some information about the history. They had a historical timeline, which was excellent, and they did have product pages and a CSR page, but in terms of actual sustainability initiatives, they didn't have any real concrete initiatives or programs. And then on the product pages, they didn't really have any actual important or useful information about their products. As well, Carvalhellos had a page about their source in the local area and how that contributed to the mineral content of their water, but Agua Castello did not have any sort of page in regard to their source. So that was kind of disappointing. I would have liked to have seen that, as well as a bit more information on their website about their product. So not bad, but could be a little bit better. In terms of bottle design and materials, the design of this bottle is quite unique. It's quite stout all the way up to the top, and then just this short little narrowing here up to the opening. So quite an interesting kind of old design to their bottle. It goes along with the Agua Castello castle, medieval castle theme to it. And I don't know if that's actually why they did it, but it does have kind of an old time bottle look to it, which I really do like. And then on the top, they have this metal cap, which is decent, but as I mentioned last week in my review of Carvalhellos, it's one of those cheaply made, not so well reinforced metal caps. So when you do take it off, it does bend and deform a bit if you squish on it, whereas Carvalhellos' cap did not bend or deform when I squished it. So not the best, but certainly better than a cheap plastic cap. Same with this beautifully designed glass bottle. It is a nice high quality glass which keeps the carbonation in. Definitely better that they went with this nice high quality glass bottle, and it just looks a lot better than a cheap plastic bottle as well. In terms of the materials of the label, it really is unfortunate. They suffer from the same issue as Carvalhellos, where they've put this nice fully glued on label, but it wasn't protected properly, and so it's with all the moisture that comes off this glass bottle, it does wrinkle and tear the label a lot. It causes it to deform and the dyes to fade a bit. So it would have been nice if they had protected their label a bit better, because it is quite a nice label. In terms of design, the cap design is quite nice. It has a picture of the castle on top, and it says Agua Castello in nice white font with a nice kind of silver rim around the cap. Really is a nice, I love the light blue color scheme they went with. The blue and white color scheme is really nice and clean. And then on the front they have the label, which again shares the same kind of white light blue color scheme with a picture of the castle at the top, some nice bubbles as well on the front of the label. A really nice, clean and elegant design. I really do like this color scheme. It's quite unique. Not a lot of other waters are doing this light color scheme. And then just a really tiny label with a very tiny mineral table on the side here. This really just shows that Carvalalos, with their huge bottle, could have easily shoved a mineral table on their label. I don't know why they didn't, but Agua Castello decided that they could put a mineral table on their label despite them having such a tiny label. So excellent to see that mineral table there. Other than that, again, just a really simple, small label. So now we will move on to how does Agua Castello taste and smell compared to Luso, the Portuguese water, as well as Carvalalos, which we did last week. So it's called Agua Castello Fina because it's supposed to be lightly carbonated, and it does look like the carbonation was able to be contained within the glass bottle with the metal cap, which is another upside to using those materials for their bottling. In terms of mineral content, the mineral table showed that there is a sort of a moderate ppm of about 600 with a little bit of calcium, around 100 ppm of calcium, about 60 ppm of chloride, and then a little bit of sulfate, a little bit of sodium and magnesium. So the typical minerals you'd expect in a mineral water, just a little bit more of them compared to some of the other lower TDS waters I've reviewed. So on the nose, it's fairly neutral nose. You really just get that kind of bitter sourness from the carbonating agent, a little bit of salty chalkiness, but it really is a very neutral nose overall. Now, in terms of taste, you get a little pop of carbonation, which is excellent. It's a little bit stronger than Carvalalos last week, but still not a super strong carbonation. It does dry out your mouth a bit. It's really drying out my mouth towards the end. That's probably because of all the minerals they've added, all the calcium and magnesium that's in there. It kind of dries out your mouth a little bit, but you get a nice sort of sour metallic-y taste right off the beginning. A little bit of a salty undertone. It's a very mild saltiness. A little bit of a sweetness as well on the background, really not a strong sweetness compared to Carvalalos, which we did last week, and just a really nice overall sourness to it. So it's more of a lemon lime citrusiness to it, slight bitterness as well compared to the more sweet orange citrus notes that you're getting from Carvalalos. So quite similar in terms of the overall tasting notes I'm getting, but there are those distinct differences where this one's more of a sour dominated note, whereas the Carvalalos was more sweet dominated. So it really depends on what you're looking for in terms of your flavor profile. Both are very nice. There's really nothing that I dislike about the taste of either Carvalalos or Castello, but they're both excellent. So definitely recommend for taste. But now we'll move on to final score. For company history and interestingness, the website for Castello was decent, not as good as Carvalalos's page, but they did do a pretty decent job of covering all the bases. It was nicely designed. They did have a good historical timeline, which was good to see, but Castello's website just didn't have all the information that Carvalalos's website had. Carvalalos really was outstanding in the amount of information they had about every aspect of their water. It would have been nice to see Castello do that as well. Add a bit more information about the source, their products, their bottling process even maybe, and their CSR initiatives, where Carvalalos was also lacking. And so in terms of company history and interestingness, I can only give Castello 2 out of 2.5 points. In terms of bottle design and materials, the bottle design and materials of Castello are very high quality, but there are a few aspects that I would like to see changed. In terms of the materials, I would have liked to see a more reinforced cap. It is good that they've gone with a metal cap and it is very nicely designed, but it would have been nice to see a more reinforced cap so it doesn't deform as much. As well, in terms of label materials, if they had covered the label in like a wax or maybe a plastic sheath just to protect it, then it wouldn't have been so prone to wrinkling and tearing. To protect such a beautiful label would be a good thing. So in terms of bottle design and materials, they also get 2 out of 2.5 points. In terms of taste and nose, the nose is quite neutral, so not really a whole lot to say there. And I did like the carbonation and the overall mouthfeel. It does dry out your mouth a lot towards the end, but overall the taste is quite good. I do like these sort of sour metallic notes you get and the slight kind of salty sweet background that they have of this water. It certainly is up there with Carvalalos in terms of taste. It just depends whether you like sweet or sour as your dominant note. So depending on which one you like, you go with either one. But in terms of taste and nose, they get 3 out of 4 points. In terms of value, this 750 milliliter bottle, which is a little bit odd, is $2 at a local grocery store. And that is quite expensive, especially compared to Carvalhellos, but you are getting kind of a unique product, and it is a very good water with a good history and excellent bottle design and materials. So it depends on what you value, but compared to some local offerings in the area and even some of the bigger waters like Perrier and San Pellegrino, those are definitely a better value. So if you're looking for a value water, I'd go with those ones. But if you are looking for a unique bottle to carry around and a unique water to try, then I definitely would pick this up. It's definitely not outrageous in its pricing. So for value, they get half a point out of 1 point. Tallying it all up, Agua Castello gets 7.5 out of 10 points, below Carvalhellos, but still quite a bit above Luso. So definitely, if you were going to go with a Portuguese water, I'd probably go with Carvalhellos or Castello. Or if there are other Portuguese waters you know about, maybe those ones are better, I don't know. But for now, in terms of my reviews, I would either go with Carvalhellos or Agua Castello. In terms of taste, they are very comparable. As I mentioned, it depends on your flavor profile preferences. But that is all for my review today. Thank you all for watching. Please like and subscribe. Comment down below which waters you'd like me to review next. I have another Western European water coming up soon, and then who knows what we'll move on to. But thank you all for watching, and I will see you on Monday for my next food review. Thank you.